Hello, everyone. My name is Christopher Norlin, and today I will be talking about nuclear energy. And in this podcast, I will explain how nuclear fission works and some of the advantages of using nuclear power, but also the main challenges it faces, and finally, whether the United States should increase, decrease, or just keep its current level of nuclear energy. So let's get started. Nuclear power starts with a process called nuclear fission, and this is when the nucleus of a heavy atom, usually uranium, splits into two. When it splits, it releases a huge amount of energy in the form of heat. That heat boils water into steam, and the steam spins turbines to produce electricity. It's actually quite similar to how coal plants work, except instead of burning fossil fuels, the heat comes from splitting atoms. The advantages of nuclear energy are pretty strong. The first one is that it's low carbon. Unlike coal, oil, or natural gas, nuclear plants don't produce greenhouse gases while operating. That means that they don't directly add to climate change. Another advantage is efficiency. Just a tiny pellet of uranium fuel, about the size of a fingertip, can generate as much energy as a ton of coal. That's a massive difference. And finally, nuclear is reliable. Solar panels need sunlight and wind turbines need wind, but nuclear plants can run day and night in any weather. And this makes them a very steady source of electricity, which is really important for powering cities and industries. But with nuclear energy also comes serious challenges. Safety is the biggest concern. Most people have probably heard of the Chernobyl incident in 1986 or Fukushima in 2011. Both accidents caused radiation leaks and long-term damage to the environment, which created fear and distrust in nuclear power. The second challenge is waste. When uranium fuel is used up, it remains radioactive for thousands of years. Storing that waste safely is very difficult, and there's still no perfect long-term solution. Many communities also don't want waste storage sites near where they live, which makes it even harder. Third problem is cost. Nuclear power plants are very expensive to build, often costing billions of dollars. They can also take more than 10 years to finish. In the meantime, renewable energy sources like solar and wind power have become cheaper and faster to install. And that makes nuclear look less attractive in comparison. So, can these problems be solved? To some extent, yes. Engineers are working on new designs like small module reactors that are safer, cheaper, and produce less waste. Some countries are even recycling spent nuclear fuel to get more energy from it. These improvements don't erase the challenges completely, but they show that progress is possible. Finally, should the US increase, decrease, or maintain? In my opinion, the US should increase its use of nuclear power, but carefully. The US has big goals to cut carbon emissions and fight climate change, and nuclear energy is one of the few large-scale options that provide reliable power without producing carbon emissions. At the same time, renewable energy like wind and solar should continue to grow, but right now, renewables alone aren't enough. because storing energy in batteries for when the sun isn't shining or the wind isn't blowing is still very expensive and limited. Nuclear energy can fill that gap. And of course, this increase has to be done responsibly. Safety rules need to be strict, and waste management must be handled openly and carefully so that the publics trust the process. But if these conditions are met, nuclear can really play an important role in making the US energy supply both clean and dependable energy. Thank you for listening.